That was good. I really, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Nice
really
job.
resonated with your closing comment there, Kyle, about people not really knowing why they're angry or upset. Because I've told this story
Mhm.
before, but early in my marriage, I remember coming home upset one day, and my wife was like, "What's wrong?" And I remember walking off into our room, not talking to her, and just being like, "I don't even know. No one's ever asked me what's wrong."
No one did.
And just learning
Exactly.
to start focusing and being
Oh,
intentional during my day. And oh, I didn't
Mhm.
like that,
yeah.
and that thing bothered me, and
Mhm.
then not taking that home, but actually
Mhm.
dealing
Yeah.
with it, or taking it home in such a way I could say, "Oh yeah, honey, this happened at work today," and it was so much more
Right.
productive.
Mhm.
It was really good.
Yeah. It's funny. Like when I'm in kind of a funky mood, my husband Benny will always think it's about him,
Mhm.
right? He just always assumes. So I've had to really get good, very clear about saying, "Oh my gosh," he'll always say, "Is this me? Did I do something? What did I do? Are you going to tell me?" And I've had to get really clear about, no, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not you, honey.
Mhm.
We take it so personally, huh?
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Rex, any questions
But
for Kyle?
Um,
What were you going to say,
Oh
Kyle,
yeah,
first? Were you
please.
going to say something?
yeah, I mean, I think it resonates for a lot of probably listeners or people watching our video right now. Is there's a lot of people who I don't really know what's going on for me. All I know is it's safe to pull away, or all I know is I get really
Mm-hmm.
angry. And
Mm-hmm.
my invitation, it's okay that you don't know. Right. And that's where it's really powerful to find someone who can sit with you in that not knowing and get curious and explore that. Right. Early on in my career, when I was even working with the Gottman Institute, right, we played with this idea of like trying on feelings, right? It's almost like clothes. We put it on, we experiment with, does this resonate with my body? And when we do find what's going on, our body will actually relax. It'll give us this physiological cues of, yeah, you got it. And that's where we then get to learn to kind of express it. And so for those people who might not know, try to check in with your body. Where's their tension? What is their tension? Do you feel anything tight? And just that might be enough for now. And so that's what I would really recommend. It's a really powerful way to start to get connected with yourself.
do you
Mm.
have?
I feel like I'm missing the boat by not having done the Sue Johnson training. Kyle, you know what I mean? I remember starting it online and I was kind of moving a little slowly. I got a little bored and never made it back to it. Is she still doing live trainings or does she have people that do them for her?
So I believe she
You
still
know,
does a few. I've never done a training with her. I've always done it with some other trainers.
really?
And yeah, she's great, but also all the other trainers I've worked
Yeah,
with
of
are
course. So
phenomenal.
you're EFT certified though, right?
I am not in the process of
Okay.
it.
You're
Pretty
in the
darn
process.
close.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Do you do it online or are you going places?
So at this stage, it's I've done all the training. It's just kind of submitting my final tapes and getting those
Okay.
approved and getting certified.
You tape yourself with clients just like Gottman's work,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I did the Gottman training, but I need to know more about this EFT. I really do. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's
I
powerful.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for somebody um, that is having a hard time understanding why they're mad, or maybe like learning how to pick through their day and say, identifying what's really bothering or troubling them?
Yeah, I think the thing is, I would really encourage one, it's okay to be mad. So one, make it safe to that's going on. Cause I often find some people be like, I'm mad. I don't know why. And then they start to go to this question of what's wrong with me. And that then kind of leads us into a much more difficult pattern. And then I would go to okay, where do I notice this in my body? And what is this tension? What is this anger trying to communicate with me? What bothered me? And just make space. And if it doesn't come up with anything, just go, okay, nothing came up. I'm going to try again next time this is here, and just try to show up for that emotion and make space for what is it here and what is it trying to communicate? And that's both from Gottman and emotionally focused couples therapy. Both those modalities look at emotion as functional and they have a purpose behind them. It's really trying to connect with why is it here and what were the experiences that you had that led it to being anger or whatever emotion might be present. Does that make
Yeah, it
sense?
does. It does. Because that's kind of the process I had to go through, is just being like, okay, I'm mad right now, but noticing it through the
Mm-hmm.
day so that it was easier for
Mm-hmm.
me to pinpoint. what it was that was bothering me. Now, Liz had mentioned this earlier that it seems that men are more likely to be the pursuers. Is that true?
It's just in my experience, but
I mean,
probably both. Yeah.
I know that I kind of am that way. And I have a question that is eluding me now. It's trying to escape. As a pursuer, though, sometimes what I run into is when we're going through the State of the Union, which I've never called it that, but that's really cool. I really like that idea. Is when me and my wife are talking, I'll feel dismissed or invalidated if I have an issue with something that's happened earlier in the day or the week. And I'm never sure what to do with that because it's frustrating for me and it's just kind of grinding for us when she gets dismissive or invalidating. Oh, that's not da, 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 da. Do you run into that? And is there any advice you have for that?
Yeah, I think again, it might be for you to name, right? Oh, that's where we're getting into this pattern where I'm feeling like what I just said doesn't matter. And I know that's probably not your intent. Can we try that again? Or what's going on for you that's getting kind of smaller right now? Do you feel like you're the bad partner? Do you feel like you caused this and I'm blaming you? What's underneath that, right? And so that's where you can get kind of curious under that for your partner, and then for you, just being able to name, oh, that's touching that part where what I'm expressing feels minimized or smaller, and that's yucky, and I know that's not what you want. Can we try that again? And just naming that feeling without it being blamey or attacky, and that often leads to the partner like, that's not what I want. I don't want you to feel yucky. So yeah, let's try again. And that repair attempt can really help.
That really the curiosity resonates with me. That's I think for me the key that I'll try when we're doing that next time is just being more curious about, okay, why is this, and letting my guard down. And not being like, oh, you're going to be validating me. Well, I'll invalidate you,
No.
This has been so helpful. Any other questions or comments?
I mean, I could sit here for another. I mean, do you want me to tell you about my childhood, Kyle, and my mother?
Session here, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Sounds like EFT really made a difference for you in what you do with couples. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I started really with Gottman, and I think Gottman was really powerful in seeing patterns and seeing kind of behaviors. EFT has really spoken to me in a ways of kind of like, where did this come from? Why do I do this? And really starting to get into, why is that the choice I choose? And so one of the things I do is I also, even still today, I do what's called SPAF coding for the Gottman Love Lab. And so they have couples come in, they do marathon, and they wire them all up and have them have conflict conversations. And I will code, positive, negative, criticism, joy, positive humor, defensiveness. I'll code those second to second. And that kind of really helps see where things are getting missed, where we start to disconnect. And then the attachment lens really helps me go, okay, why? And as SPAF coders, we're always asking this question: out of the 1,000 ways that someone could have said that or responded to that, why was that what they chose? And that has been so I would say Gottman and attachment has been really powerful for me to kind of have a philosophy of being really curious about why are people showing up the way they are.
That is interesting. What I usually do is say to my clients and myself, like, don't get too caught up in the content. What's really the meaning behind it? But in a sense, maybe the content is important.
I would say a lot of the content can be sometimes important, but I mean, I have couples have horrible fights about how to cook fish, how to, toothpaste cap. I mean, there's an article on my website and even on the Gottman Institute about a nasty fight my wife and I had about cat litter, right? It wasn't about the cat litter. And this is what both EFT and Gottman really expressed. It's often not about that. It's about what it means, right? And what the cat litter meant to my partner was, I don't care about our cat. I don't care about our family. And meanwhile, for me, I was just overwhelmed and stressed and spaced out on it. and we got in a whole critical defend pattern, and it really escalated. And then we had to repair, and I got to learn why my partner was so upset. She got to learn why I was reacting the way I was, and we got to really repair that challenging moment.
Cat litter is tough.
And it all comes down to, am I loved, right? It all comes down to love. Am I loved?
Mm-hmm. Am I enough?
Am I enough?
We had a cat.
Sorry.
And that's funny, the cat litter thing, because it was, my wife got me the cat for my birthday years ago. And it was my thing to deal with. So, I mean, I can understand this is a funny story. I can kind of relate to in a way. I never got upset about it because I was like, it was my cat, but I could see how somebody would, when you explained it that way, it was interesting. This was mentioned before, and I've heard this before. I remember Bill Doherty said that low conflict marriages really are in trouble. Have you ever dealt with couples that are in low conflict? And what do you tell them, like, fight more? What do you do? Like, how do you fix that?
Yeah. So, I mean, Gottman would say whether you're right, you have the pursuer withdrawer pattern, which he calls an emotional mismatch, where one partner's emotion validating, another's emotion dismissing, or you have two people who are more kind of emotionally volatile and escalating, or you have these other people who their partners are avoidant and withdrawing. Those relationships can all be secure as long as we have more positive to negative interactions. The problem we see with partners who kind of pull away is they withhold what they're needing emotionally. They don't bring up what bothers them. And what that causes is more disconnection. And so what I work with them on is, again, I make them see the pattern. Okay, when you're feeling this, instead of bringing that to your partner, you're actually stuffing it on the inside and going off and playing video games, or you're stuffing off on the inside and going shopping to try to get that sense of validation or that sense of worth. Can you actually share that with your partner, that that's your current strategy to try to cope with this distress?
Wow.
And boom, I get them to start to talk about the distress that they never talked about before.
Wow.
And that's what starts to change the relationship.
I know
that was magical.
I'm seeing a couple relationships I'm familiar with. My parents, when I was younger, I just remember one would go shopping and the other one would do something else. That's fascinating. You talk about that and mention those things. Wow. That's cool.
So distress. So last question, Cal, what is your best article that we as therapists could utilize and know the best about this EFT or attachment? Do you have,
I would probably give a handful.
Okay.
I think if you're a therapist, I would look at, I have an article, I don't remember the titles, but there's one on, that protest withdrawal. I think that's the title of it. There's another one on avoid. And then there's another one on finding the bad guy or the blame game, something like that. Those three articles will help start to see these patterns, why we do what we do, and how we can start to take kind of these detour moments to do things differently that create a chance for both partners to start to get their needs met.
Very cool. I love it. I love it all. Am I enough? And are you there for me? Right? Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, Kyle, thanks so much. I know we're up against the hour.
Benson.
You've been very generous with your time, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a few minutes to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. When you hit the like button and leave a comment, your feedback helps us improve the show. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and connect with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and on Facebook at Stronger Marriage. Be sure to share with us what topics you want us to explore or what you loved about today's episode. If you want even more resources to improve your relationship connection, visit our website at strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producers Rex Polanis and Alexis Alcott and the team at Utah State University. And you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission